All right, greetings. This is Body-Culinary and welcome you into my food prep area for live food, living foods jam session. So look how big these mustard greens are from the garden. So I feel like ants got on you. Yeah, these are pretty big. So being that there's no pesticides or anything on these, you want to make sure that you're washing them thoroughly. On some of the more tough or rougher textured or quote unquote leathery textured greens, you may want to remove the rib because this is a big rib before you cut it up. You know, some people like to eat it. It is a lot more tender. So you see it has a lot of dirt on it, right? Because you just pulled it out of the yard. So you're gonna make sure you wash it thoroughly. Then I have some chard that's good, but caterpillars started eating some of my chard, so I had to mix some herbs and stuff for them to spray them. And my little spray bottle. And then I also picked some fresh sage and cilantro out of the garden. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm washing these really thoroughly. So many people, when they're washing their greens, they just run them under the water, like really quickly. So that's how they wash greens. That's not going to get everything out of your greens. So you want to use a bowl with some water in it. If you have a basket or a strainer, you can put it down there. These greens are so, I have water in my hand. These greens are so big that you have to really make sure that you get them down in the bowl. You might even have to cut them in half so you can immerse them all the way down in the water. So I'm going to rinse it one time first, and then I'm going to rinse it again. So you make sure you're washing your stuff thoroughly because a lot of creatures can camouflage themselves the same color as the greens and you won't see them. They'll look like green dust and it's really bugs. So I know some people like them for protein, but I'd rather not have them in my food. You're going to make sure that you immerse the greens all the way in the water. So, and you have to really look in there. All right. And the best, especially the back, I find usually bugs and critters, they like to have a tendency to go more on some greens than others. And some of the other videos we'll talk about companion planting, which is planting certain types of herbs around your greens. That kind of the oils, the scent of the oils. A lot of creatures don't like certain oils, so it's good to companion plant certain herbs with certain greens, right? As a natural way of avoiding using any kind of chemical. So I'm going to put like a cap full of cider vinegar, and this is going to be my expensive vinegar. It's just plain apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to use that inside a cap. And then my organic cider vinegar, I'll save that and use that for when I'm doing food prep, right? But I want to wash these thoroughly. All right, so make sure you're, again, you don't want to just pass them quickly under the water. You want the greens to be all the way immersed in, and run your fingers over the back of the greens. Because sometimes it looks like a little green dust there. And flash it up. See, I found a nice spot. Looks like it's dust, but that's actually little critters in there. And that's the trade-off. If it's organic, you know, the creatures want to eat too. So make sure you're, yeah, and I can see them all. You can't see them sometimes on the greens, but I could definitely see them. You might not be able to see it floating around in the bowl. So take your time. Look at your food. Whenever I'm handling my own food, and I know it's like, wow, can you imagine if somebody doesn't care as much about the food and how they handle it in restaurants? And it's more of an incentive to prepare your own food. I like to, you know, I'm always very well aware that the food talks to you, or you get lots of information from handling your own food. You're learning. That's how you learn. Even for those folks that feel like they didn't learn a lot growing up, or they didn't spend a lot of time in the food prep area. It's just about taking care of yourself and really paying attention to the substances that are going to go inside your arteries and your colon and your brain. your genitals, your gut. You know, when you really prepare your own food, and you know how much care you prepare, there's actually a lot of stuff floating around in the water. And it makes you much more stringent and much more paying attention to, you know, how the food is being handled. You'll just start to notice things. So again, I want to make sure even my herbs that I'm immersing them in water. So if I want to just have a little top to it, I can spin them dry, or you can put them on top of a clean cloth towel. If you're gonna use them in a light salad, I like to make a distinction between greens and salad. But if you're gonna use these in a light salad, then you may want to spin them dry to make sure that the greens are dry properly. That's not usually a big deal for me, but I like the dirt. And there is some B12. B12 is produced in human guts. I know that's a big concern for many people that eat plant-based and living foods. Some people take injections and all of that. But if you're eating organic food and it's not sanitized to death, you should be getting B12 to be produced ideally inside the gut. And also, you get it from the soil, also in the food, right? So all I use was the cider vinegar to wash the greens. These are some big greens. Keep in mind, organic greens are not going to be quote unquote as pretty as greens treated with chemicals. That's okay. You get to see what food really looks like in its natural state. I have a gray water system. I have compost nearby, and all of this water can go into gray water, so none of it would be wasted. If they want so many mosquitoes, I would put it in a bucket right outside the window. And that's a lot of water. Two collards over here. And also some hot pepper from out in the garden. Yeah, so you sort of make sure that you're checking your greens to make sure that all behind the rib of the greens, when you pull them out of the garden, sometimes look very closely. It can look like dust and will actually be little bugs. And don't be freaked out because the soil is alive. It has living organisms in it. And just like all your cells, all creatures eat and they poop, and the creatures have to eat. They have to eat too. So you can manage a lot of pests naturally by doing companion planting and planting certain herbs, which we can talk about in some other videos. It's a deterrent from the bugs just totally destroying or eating up all of your greens, right? And there are even some things that I'll plant for like the little geckos and iguanas. So hopefully they can eat those greens instead of eating all my greens that it took me months to nurture and to grow. So the mustard greens and the collards, all of these came out of our humble little garden. And they're actually much bigger than some of the leaves, especially the mustard greens are growing like this big. So, and it's nice. And it tastes much sweeter and more tender than the greens that I find at the market. So I would definitely say it's gratifying in another way. And you can tell people, I think many people are used to thinking, oh, it's a drag to prepare your own food. But it's really not. It's like, it's science. It's so many light bulbs are going off when you're preparing your own food, because when you see, the water content and how tender it is, and how long it can be outside, and you can just pick it right before you eat it, and the taste, it opens up like a whole nother paradigm. You start relating to your food different because it's a whole nother set of information that comes from preparing your own food. So again, do remember to take and open up the greens and look in the back of the rib and through the vein and make sure that there's no dusties in it. If you look closely, quite often you'll see that those are little bugs. So you don't want unnecessary bugs in the system. And also, that I'm sure that's why Grandma Lou and those elders, in addition to sweets, have you drink bitter teas and bush teas and aloe and things, because critters in the system, they don't like hot pepper and they don't like those really bitter herbs like the jackass bitters and the aloes and the hot pepper and all those things. Keep all of that stuff intact, those little bugaboos. So I can't see the comments. for some reason. So that's washing your greens. Please make sure you wash your greens thoroughly. Even look through the greens for those folks in the city areas that purchase triple wash greens. Always inspect your greens because if a lot of people that are going through the greens very quickly, you'll start to notice most likely you're going to give your food a lot more attention than people that are working kind of like on an assembly line kind of. And if farmers have to pay for more labor, that will drive the cost of your greens and your vegetables up. So work with the best of, do the best that you can with what you have available to you. If that's a Trader Joe's, if that's a food co-op, if that's a farmer's market. But I am encouraging everybody to grow something because you'll be amazed at what you can grow. I posted on Instagram today a walk around the garden this week, several updates so you can see we have some new baby pineapples growing. We have the first blossoms on a little baby mango. The placenta from the little banana trees that we started like this is over 20 feet tall. So that's within less than a year. And the placenta has opened up and you can see the bananas at the top. So that's super exciting. We have some ripe tomatoes growing. This is one of them that I salvaged, but a bug, sometimes if you don't get it, the bugs will get it. So I'm going to trim this off. When you start growing your own stuff, you will not be throwing stuff in the garbage, especially if they're heirloom tomatoes. You'll trim that part, let the bug have the piece, and you'll have the piece. And that's months of watering. So we have some tomatoes. The chard is doing really good inside of the bags. Broccoli is coming up nicely. So I'm gently looking in without to start disrupting the leaves to see the broccoli coming. I just planted some okra today. I planted strawberries so that you can see over on Body-Culinary on Instagram so I can divide up so everybody can see something. I planted strawberries, thyme, thyme. I also planted more flowers because I like edible flowers. Those are really, really expensive and they're really beautiful. Petunias and pansies, and I have nasturtiums. I had a big bush of beautiful nasturtiums and then they died. I think they were a little too rough. So not all the seeds will make it, but I managed to find 2 sprouting up and I replanted them. So you'll see in some of the other videos that with the baby seedlings and plants you're going to transplant, that you want to be really, really delicate with them because even the heat from your hand, shout out to Brother Jay from the Village House Gardeners, who was the first person to show me and teach me about companion planting, and also something I took for granted back then, that even the heat from your hands can be a shock to the plant. So when you're transplanting a plant, like I did with some tomato seedlings from one place from the little starter recycled area or recycled cup to another, the plants can go into shock. So you want to give them a lot of water. And they're just really, really delicate, like little babies. So I encourage everybody to grow something because it gives you such, literally, I know it may sound funny, but it gives you such a relationship to the food. So, and it's definitely beyond the label of just vegan. It's like, that's what it's living foods. It's not just raw, it's living. This is the stuff that's going to go in to nourish your, all these greens and the chlorophyll. Other than it being a natural deodorant, it's very close to the, similar to the blood hemoglobin cell, natural deodorant, and it's good for your nerves, for stress, and for B vitamins. So all that living water and fiber in this living plant that you have nurtured for months, it slows you down in your tracks and gives you another kind of respect, right? That it's not some just inanimate object that you're putting into your body. So these are the mustard greens and the chard that we grew and the collards that we grew, this is exciting. I mean, I started on a fire escape, right? Sprouts in jars. And I have some sprouts here. These are lentil sprouts that are here. Same old thing I've been doing for years. So it's almost still almost like pennies per pound for the sprouts. And then there's some Cuban mint or oregano and some cilantro. My cilantro is starting to flower and to go to seed. So when it goes to seed, it also gives me, so the cilantro, when it goes to seed, the shape of the plant changes and it gives me these beautiful coriander seeds, which has so much, I like to say perfume and so much flavor in it. So it's super exciting. Like when folks wonder why your food tastes so good, it's because the spices, or at least why my food is pretty flavorful, tastes pretty good, pretty delicious. It's because the spices are fresh and it's so enjoyable. You know, y'all are welcome to come to the garden and into the food prep area with me. So last note, before we leave, I just pressed some fresh coconut cream, so I don't have to use oils. And you know, my site said, "Mommy, people don't understand the way that you eat." So I think many of us are disconnected from fresh food. Even when we say we're eating fresh food, the whole foods, if you look at most people's carts, there's still a lot of boxes and packages, right? Especially if you're living in the city areas. So I have my grandma Lou style old fashioned coconut grater, and I can see why her food it tastes better. So any of you that have tried to or have made greens in a food processor, it doesn't taste the same as when you take your time and wash them and do a nice chiffonade and cut them. The texture is different, and the textures can have a big effect on how the flavor moves and transfers around to the leaves and the spices travel around and the mouthfeel, right, of the food. So it definitely is like a meditation. It's very pleasant and enjoyable. You're welcome to come into the food prep area with me for Living Food Jam session. I did save some of the coconut meat because I know my sister, um, she likes the coconut meat, which is interesting. Over the years, different things, and I'm a big eater, and I used to be a big junk food addict many years ago. But certain things over the years have fallen away from me. Like I don't really crave oils anymore. So just making the fresh coconut cream, this already has oil and fat in it, and it's fresh living fat. So again, when you're making your own food, you'll see that the food behaves differently, right? So you'll have fats and oils in avocado and the coconut cream, but it's not greasy. So oil started to taste really greasy to me. And I grew up where oil was like gravy, you know, the more of the oil from the pan drippings, from the ground meat and stuff. They used to put onion and garlic powder and tomato sauce, and that was gravy. So your palate will change, you know, over time, and you'll find ways to balance out the flavor and the textures and the colors of the food. So I could keep you here talking about food all day, but I'm gonna make some greens. Um, so that I can eat. And I do have some pineapple over there that I have saved the tops because those can be replanted. So I did talk about that over on Instagram about replanting the pineapple and experiment. If you're paying all this money for food, what do you have to lose, right? Many of the things that you're buying, you can actually and then when you replant, you can let them go through the whole process and let them go to seed. So please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and you found any value. Share it with someone that you know could use it and find value. Subscribe, press the bell button so you'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. Do check out the puppet series on this channel, Sister Butterfly and Sister Monkey Learn to Eat Better. There are 10 free episodes on the channel. You can also follow me on Body-Culinary on Instagram, where I post lots of things from fitness challenges and different things I'm doing with the garden and living foods over there. But definitely can come to the garden over there. So leave anything out. So that's Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next video. All right then. Take care. And make